what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to all my cloud scholars out there. My name is Kieran Tross, and I want to thank you for clicking on this video today. Today, I want to talk to you about what you should log in your SIEM tool and why logging is so important. So you probably clicked on this video because you're thinking to yourself, you probably talked to a security consultant or you're probably having a conversation with your team and you're realizing you aren't logging really within the Azure environment or AWS or GCP environment, and you try to figure out and grasp the idea around logging. Now, logging on-prem versus logging in the cloud is two separate things. It's totally different, and the approach can be a little bit challenging when you first start doing it. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to create this video, is because you're getting those questions and you're trying to figure out the answers. I've got the answers, and also I've had questions targeted towards me from different various clients, and I've had different discussions with them and going deep dive in those discussions with them as well. So why is it so important to log? So first of all, let's talk about what does Microsoft provide, and I'm going to talk more from a Microsoft perspective because that's really my bread and butter is Azure. So I'm going to be working on the board here today as well. I'm just not going to get in front of the computer screen. Really just want to kind of really have a real interaction with you. So Microsoft provides 90 days. Yeah, my handwriting's okay. It's okay. So Microsoft provides 90 days for logs. So I've had clients say to me, well, yeah, Microsoft does have a login. You got to really pay attention. It's only 90 days. So on the 91st day, then you're going to be in trouble. It's a wrap. Anything before that, yeah, you'll be able to find out what's going on, but you just have logs, right? So there's two parts of login. So you have the logs, right? And then what do you do with the logs is another thing, right? So why is it important to log? If some of you are having that question, let's break it down. So you have visibility and insight to your environment. You can see what's going on for security and compliance reasons, right? You have certain regulatory compliance you need to follow. You also have monitoring of your environment and troubleshooting. So let's just say something happens with one of your web servers. You can look at the logs and see exactly what happened, if there was a system dump or some type of crash that's happening. And then you can have some automation behind it to bump up the memory because you are running out of space, or your load balancers aren't working effectively. Another thing that you have important to log in is just the incident and response, right? And this what goes into the the question of the day. What should you capture within your SIEM tool, which is your incident and response, right? That's your security information event management tool. Now, all three clouds provide services for login. So for Azure, right, you have your log analytics. Hope you guys can read that. Then you have storage. And then you have your event hub. So your event hub would be your intermediary, right? This is going to send it to your third-party SIEM tool. So you may have Splunk within your environment that you're using, or you may have another SIEM tool that you're utilizing. You're going to send your resources here, right? So you would have different resources, whether it's a VM, whether it's a public IP address, or it's NSG full logs, right? And you have more than this. I'm just keeping it to these guys, right? NSG flow logs, right? So for instance, your NSG flow logs would go to your storage account, and then from there, you can send it to an event hub, right? And then you can send it off to Splunk if you wanted to send it off to Splunk, right? Your public IP address, you can send it to your LogAnalytics workspace, your storage account, or you can send it to Event Hub, and then that would probably go to Splunk or some other type of SIEM tool that you use in your environment. And then you have your virtual machines, would probably go straight to your LogAnalytics workspace because you're probably doing data collection rules and so on and so forth. Now for AWS, Amazon, you have things like your CloudWatch logs, you have your Elastic service, and then you also have your S3 buckets. For GCP, you have cloud login, and then you have like cloud storage as well. So you have different options wherever three clouds. But I really want to focus more on the process versus what tools there are there, because all three clouds provide similar toolings, right? Just have different names, right? So we're not doing the 90 days because we know we only have it for 90 days. We want to capture and be responsible and have all our stuff. And we have our different resources here, and we have our options of where we go to those logs. Now, one of the questions I got was because it's so expensive, right? Or how do we know which ones to capture? So one of the first things I would say is you need to really figure out from a compliance standpoint, right? So let me throw that up here. Compliance. What does your regulation state? So if you're healthcare, it's HIPAA. Are you going with a NIST 853? If you're an insurance company, all that stuff you want to make sure that you're following, and they will provide you some more details. And perhaps you in IT, you really don't know. So you need to go to your compliance department or your legal department. Now, some of you are saying, we're a startup. We don't really have all those departments defined. Or perhaps you've been in business for a while, but you still don't have a compliance department. There, I would tell you to first go into your environment and use some type of CSPM, which is your Defender for Cloud, is a CSPM, or you can use CrowdStrike is another CSPM, and you would use those tools to now look at your resources and tell you exactly how the posture of your resources are. What's going right, what's going wrong, all that other stuff, and it will call out the login. But the time frame of the login, you really need to figure that out within your environment, and that's from a regulatory standard. So you might have to do some reading and some research, right? I can't really provide you all those answers, but I can point you in the right direction. So then we have the talk of it's expensive. It can be very expensive, but you really need to architect your environment in the right way. So let's see, which path do I want to choose to architect my environment? So I told you these are the three different resources that you can use for your login. I'm going to choose going with the VM for now, right? So let's say the VM, I'm sending my logs to a log analytics workspace. I'm doing some querying. I have an application team. They're querying. They're seeing exactly how things are working within that server. But they only need it in the log analytics workspace for, 90 days, right? So it's in 90 days, and then there I would send it to a storage account. So I can send it to a storage account, and not to get confused here, because this is really showing the first pathway, right? If you chose to go straight here. It's NSG flow logs, if you know exactly how you get your network security logs, you're going to get them with the NSG flow logs, and they go to a storage account. That's exactly how they work. So I don't want you getting confused because I have storage over here as well. So VMs is a different path, and this is why things can get confusing, because you have a VM going to login workspace. From there, you have it going to a storage account after a certain amount of days. So I said 90 days. But you have it in a storage account and you keep it there for a little while, but then finally you're like, all right, we don't really need it, in hot tier, right? So we can put it after, 120 days, right? We'll send this to cold. And then after another time period, we send it to archive. So that's how you really want to sort it out within your environment. But keep in mind all these resources here, and there's a ton of different resources. Let's say SQL storage, all this other stuff, all that other stuff that you have here. They all have different logs, and that's where it comes to the point of what the origination of this video is: what to log in my SIEM tool. And it really takes some time to really think about it, and you have to say, okay, what am I logging in my SIEM tool? Let's see what kind of logs this resource provides. So anything for a public facing, so let's say public IP address, your load balancers, you definitely want to send that to an event hub, right? And it would feed into whatever, SIEM tool that you're using, right? So if you're using Splunk, and I know I keep saying that, then you would send it here, and go into Splunk, and you do your automation and response within Splunk to make sure that your environment is safe. Now, if you're using Azure Sentinel, you're not going to Event Hub because that's a native tool. That's going to be a log analytics workspace because that's where Azure Sentinel works. So, that's really the thought process when it comes to how to log within your environment. This is a quick capture of how to log. It's definitely more complicated than that because you also have to think about redundancy of where your logs are stored, RBAC as well. But I really wanted to talk about today was, what to log in your SIEM tool, and why it's so important to log these different things within your SIEM tool. So I'm going to cut this video short right now. I think we covered a good amount of information here where it comes to login. If you have any questions or anything like that, please leave it below in the comment section. I'm more than happy to have a discussion or even just, respond to your inquiries or anything like that. If you're looking for any types of consultation or somebody to come in, like a security architect like myself, to come in and talk to you about your environment, look at your environment, do a type of discovery work as well, you can always message me at cloudscholarslearning@gmail.com. I am more than happy to help you out. I've had different clients, or I should say people, reach out via YouTube, and I was able to help them out successfully. So once again, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like and subscribe button. Helps me out with the algorithm, and I enjoy providing you more great information when it comes to login or anything when it comes to the Microsoft ecosystem, whether it's Azure, M365, so on and so forth. I definitely enjoy doing this for you. Once again, my name is Kieran Tross. Here at Cloud Scholars, my goal is to get you from scholar to consultant, and also consultant to expert. Thank you, and see you next time.